Good morning, everybody. Excellencies, dear guests, colleagues, friends, good morning. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Melissa Fleming, and I'm Undersecretary General for Global Communications here at the UN. And on behalf of the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres, it is my great pleasure to warmly welcome all of you in this room to a youth event organized on the occasion of International Peace Day. I would also like to welcome those joining via UN Web TV and the UN YouTube channel. Before we start, though, let's put our hands together for DJ Cuppy for those incredible beats, that we were hearing as we all walked in. More to come. Right? So declared by the United Nations General Assembly in 1981, Peace Day is observed around the world on the 21st of September. And this year's theme for the International Day is Actions for Peace, Our Ambition for the Global Goals. The theme calls on all of us to urgently act because, as we know, peace is not a given. And because each and every one of us has an important role to play in creating a world of peace, dignity, and equality on a healthy planet. This is our goal here at the UN, and I hope that you all will join forces with us. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has recorded a special message for this day. Let's watch the video.
As we mark this International Day of Peace, people and our planet are in crisis. Conflicts driving record numbers of people from their homes, deadly fires, raging floods, and soaring temperatures, poverty, inequalities and injustices, mistrust, division and prejudice. This year's theme reminds us that peace is not automatic. Peace is the result of action. Action to accelerate progress towards the Sustainable Development Goals and ensure that no one is left behind. Action to end the war on our planet and its natural gifts. Action to uphold and protect human rights and dignity of every person, especially as we celebrate the 75th anniversary of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Action to use the timeless tools of diplomacy, dialogue and collaboration to diffuse tensions and end conflict. And action for those millions of people living through the horrors of war. Peace is not only a noble vision for humanity, peace is a call to action. Let us commit to build, drive and sustain peace for all.
Call to action. I thank the Secretary General for those words addressed to you. He is an ardent supporter of young people, and he really sends his sincere regrets that he was not able to join us in person. He's traveling. Otherwise, he definitely would be here. As he noted, while we mark this International Day, the people and our planet are in crisis. And may I ask, this is not in my speaking notes, but I think all of us are feeling very, I would hope, concerned for the people of Morocco and the people of Libya. And I wonder if we could have a moment of silence. In both of those situations, we've seen terrible, terrible, terrible tragedies, very possibly linked to climate change. And peace is under assault. We have wars, the horrible war in Ukraine and other conflicts and wars raging across conflicts, with 1/4 of humanity living in conflict-affected areas, 1/4 of humanity. And in these conflicts, words too are often weaponized. Hate speech, distorted versions of reality, and even downright lies circulate on social media to sow confusion and prolong divisions. And meanwhile, millions of people suffer from poverty, from hunger, from injustice and inequalities, which are, in turn, further threatening peace. The situation is dire, but I'm really happy to tell you hope is not elusive. There is a roadmap for a better world. In 2015, the United Nations General Assembly, leaders from all UN member states made a historic promise to work together to secure the rights and well-being of everyone on a thriving planet by the year 2030. They also committed to leaving no one behind. The promise of these world leaders was codified in the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, also known as the SDGs. Contained within them is our action plan for a future of peace. Of course, there are challenges at every turn, and on Monday, the President of the General Assembly will be convening the SDG Summit here. And this convening will mark the halfway point towards the 2030 deadline to achieve the goals. As we've reached this important milestone, though, progress around the goals is woefully derailed. Only about 15% of the targets are on track. However, your presence here at this youth event for International Day of Peace fills me and all of my colleagues here with me and all of those who organize this event with optimism. Today, there are 1.9 billion young people between 10 and 24 years of age, and you have shown yourself to be a force to be reckoned with. Creating a youth movement for climate action, seeking racial justice, and promoting gender equality in a host of arenas, including education, business, technology, science, and fashion. Our event today is all about showcasing these actions and the actions that young people take to create breakthroughs and transformations which influence policy and help us to reach the global goals, especially Goal 16, which is about promoting peace, justice, and strong institutions. So today we have a very exciting program, and on each of the slides on the screen, you will see a colorful QR code where you can access the program, as well as more information about the speakers and ways that you can share actions for taking peace. So now I am very pleased to introduce you to someone who is unmatched in her capacity to speak about the extraordinary contributions of young people. Jayathma Vikmanayake was appointed as the Secretary General's Envoy on Youth in 2017 at the age of 26. And over the last 6 years, she has brought the United Nations closer to young people across the globe and has worked to ensure that youth in all their diversity have a voice within the UN. Jayathma has expanded the UN Youth's engagement and advocacy efforts across sustainable development, human rights, peace and security, and humanitarian action, and she has also served as a representative of and advisor to the Secretary General. Jayathma, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Melissa. And first of all, let me also join you in expressing my solidarity with the young people of Morocco and Libya, who are not only victims of the natural disasters, but also are in the front lines, often without the tools and the resources that are necessary, fighting for their communities and rescuing their peers and being a ray of hope and resilience right now that the world so desperately needs. I'm thrilled to be with you here today, surrounded by the incredible hope, enthusiasm, and the commitment that all of you young people bring to the United Nations. In my eyes, you are the torchbearers for peace, for human rights, and for sustainable development. So it is my pleasure to join you in celebrating this year's International Day of Peace, while today is also the last day I'm serving as the UN's Envoy on Youth, ending 6 years of my tenure, trying to bring the United Nations closer to young people and young people closer to the UN. So there is no better way to wrap up my mandate than to spend it with an incredible group of young people like yourselves. Allow me to come back to the topic and ask all of you to close your eyes, take a deep breath, and imagine your idea of a peaceful world. What does peace look like to you? What does peace feel like to you? Now, for me, it is a world where every young person can attend school without the fear of violence or conflict, a world where every young person can do a job that they love, where every young person can love or marry or live with the person that they choose to love, where everyone can advocate safely for their rights, and where everyone is safe from the impacts of climate change, where everyone has equal opportunities for a decent living everywhere. Now, everywhere I travel in the world, I ask this question from young people. And often, the answer that I get is not the absence of arms or conflicts or violence. It is the interpretation of young people that peace is something bigger, peace is something broader, peace is having the freedom to live our lives the way that we choose to live. Now, I was born in a country that was affected by war, and 19 years of my life I lived in a country that was going through a brutal civil conflict. During my time back home in Sri Lanka, I often wondered, why were my people fighting? What is the reason behind the conflict in my country? We look the same, we eat the same things, we care about the same things, so why are we fighting with each other? And I often found that the root causes for the conflict, for war, was much deeper in our societies. It went down to issues like discrimination. It went down to issues like poverty, inequalities in our societies. That is why I think, as Melissa very correctly said in her remarks, we cannot differentiate peace from development. If we are to achieve a peaceful world, then we must achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. And we must put all of our efforts to now bring back to track and really, as the SDG says, rescue the Sustainable Development Goals so that through education, through equal opportunities, through better health system, through decent living condition, by addressing climate change, we can bring our world to be a much more peaceful place. Now, all of the young people in the room, you are part of the 1.9 billion young people living in the world right now, and you play a vital role in making this vision a reality. It's not about doing something grand or complex. It's about taking small steps and making choices that align with these goals. Now, on this podium, we have an amazing set of youth advocates. I know Saad and Zie and Kapi very well, and I have no doubt that Mariama is amazing as well. And if you ask all of them, they started by small actions, by individual actions, thinking about something that they could do with the skills that they had, with the platform that they had, in order to create a change in their communities. And I hope that today you get to learn from them and go out of the United Nations with at least one action in your mind that you can do to help us achieve the SDGs and put our world back on track to be a more peaceful, just, and secure place. Now, I'm talking about individual actions, but also actions by governments and institutions like the United Nations are equally, even if not more important. Now, if you look at young people and peace, the UN Security Council over the years has adopted multiple resolutions on youth, peace, and security. Now, almost 7 years after the adoption of the first resolution on youth, peace, and security, only 4 governments today have concrete plans on including young people on national peace and security issues. So we have 193 governments who are members of the UN, but only 4 has concrete plans. So when you go back home today, I hope that you start advocating also with your governments, with your ministers, with the high-level officials in your countries to continue to put resources and concrete plans on how they wish to engage young people in making sure that we implement the commitments that we have made here at the United Nations, including in the Security Council. So with that thought and with that request, let me wrap up my remarks and thank you once again for the incredible support that you have extended to me and my team over the years. And I look forward to all of the great things that you will achieve at the United Nations for young people. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jayatma. And as you are transitioning into a new role, I really want to thank you again for your extraordinary service in supporting the creation also of a new UN Youth Office in line with the vision of the Secretary General as foreseen in his Our Common Agenda report. This new youth office will build on your exemplary work and that of the previous youth envoy, Ahmed Al-Hendawi. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And really good luck in your new role. You'll find out soon where she's going in the family. Very good. It is now my pleasure to invite Shia Bastida to deliver her remarks. Shia is a Mexican climate justice activist and a member of the indigenous Otomi Toltec Nation. I hope I said that right. And she's a powerful leader in the youth climate movement. In 2019, she co-organized a climate strike attended by no fewer than 300,000 people here in New York. Moreover, in 2021, she spoke at President Biden's climate summit with 40 heads of state, and she closed the World Leaders Summit at COP26 in Glasgow. Shia, the floor is yours, and if I could ask you, because I just realized when Jayatma was speaking, we had to put the headphones on. It would be much better if you could come up here and deliver your remarks. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Honorable Excellencies, ministers, youth delegates. It is such an honor to be here today joining you for International Day of Peace. My name is Shia Bastida, and I come from the Otomi Toltec peoples located in the highlands of central Mexico. Today, I stand representing my people, who for centuries have been subject to displacement, contamination, intimidation, and assimilation. But we are still here, standing proud, bringing a message not of pain, but of love. For thousands of years, we have lived in harmony with Mother Earth, understanding her cycles and her teachings, her gifts and her needs. We have understood that nature's wisdom is essential for harmony, a wisdom that has been developed over millions of years through intricate processes. Thus, we have understood that we are on Earth to take care of life, to learn, to build community, and to leave this Earth better than we found it for the generations of tomorrow. 400 million years ago, plankton, trees, and other plant matter started getting buried, pressured, and heated. Today, we know these beings as oil and gas. Never before in the history of Earth has oil and gas existed like today, and so Mother Earth is giving us a choice to leave million-year-old plants in the ground or hurt humanity and the Earth every time we extract and burn them. Let's choose to respect Earth. Around 3.8 billion years ago, water was brought to Earth from our solar system. Scientists still debate where water comes from, but what I do know is that since it got here, it has carried the history of billions of years. Water travels through the ocean, the skies, the mountains, and every single living being. Water connects us all, and yet, of all the water in the world, the one available in lakes and streams is only 0.0072%. Of that water that carries millenary history, we have polluted around 40% of it, according to the UN Environment Program. Let us choose to respect water. Around the world, 9 out of 10 people breathe contaminated air that leads to sickness and death. 90% of humanity is breathing contaminated air. we are not only choking up the planet, we are choking up ourselves. So let us choose to respect air. And let's also choose to respect fire, because instead of being in the form of wildfires, it could be at the center of communities in the form of bonfires, allowing us to share stories, wisdom, and foster unity. Only through understanding that we are all interconnected across millions of years and through thousands of territories can we come together for peace. Peace is the ability to breathe clean air and drink clean water. Peace is the ability to take care of your territory without repercussions. Peace is the ability to dream of a future and imagine joy. Peace is the ability to tell ourselves the truth. Extraction, waste, fossil fuel burning, and the magnification of the climate crisis is the reflection of a broken system. Peace is the bravery to imagine that better world and have the courage to implement it. Indigenous peoples have had the courage to take care, to protect, to love, to restore, and to regenerate. For a world free of violence, of heat waves, for a world free of the violence of hurricanes, for a world free of the violence of sea level rise and flooding, for a world free of extraction and exploitation, a world that is defined by love. Let us unite and take bold steps towards a future and with a pursuit of harmony, not profit. In this shared endeavor, we can heal our wounds and mend those of the earth, creating a world of dignity, respect, and enduring peace. My heart doesn't hate anything or anybody. I don't act out of grudge or anger. I act out of love for my ancestors, for my culture, for my land, and for my descendants. My identity is my land, my skin is the earth, my tears are the rain, and my breath is the breeze. My call to action may be the most challenging of all. Spend just 10 minutes every day in silence contemplating what it truly means to build a better world, to rectify injustices, and to leave a legacy of hope. Because we must not only ask what world we're bringing to future generations, but what generations we are bringing to the world. A world of peace is a world of climate justice, planetary health, and harmony. So let's declare peace with Mother Earth, let's declare peace with future generations, and let's declare peace within ourselves. Thank you. Kamadi.
Thank you, Shia, for that very moving speech. Let's all choose to respect Earth and to have peace with Mother Earth. Our next speaker is Academy Award-winning actor and producer and a true film legend. He's also a legend for us here at the United Nations because he's been serving as our messenger of peace for the past 25 years. He has spoken passionately about the importance of nuclear nonproliferation and also halting the illicit trade in small arms. In addition to his remarks this morning, he will launch a video marking 75 years of UN peacekeeping that features a new poem titled Peace Begins With Me. Please join me in warmly welcoming Michael Douglas.
Melissa, thank you. Thank you so much. And to Secretary General Guterres and the United Nations, thank you for having me here today. But above all, thank you to the young people joining us from all over the world whose passion and commitment to the future has brought us here together today. It's an honor for me to join you in commemorating this year's International Day of Peace, a day devoted to strengthening the ideals of peace and diplomacy. And in the 75 years since the UN's creation, this work has never been more critical. It's a work we all must play, and one that I've spent a lifetime supporting. When I was 19, I heard a lecture by the visionary thinker Buckminster Fuller. And it was about his groundbreaking book, Operating Manual for Spaceship Earth. I recommend all of you to read it if you haven't done it. Fuller's premise was very simple. He imagined our planet as a vessel in space with finite resources and no user manual. It was up to us Earthlings to figure out how to operate it for the good of all humanity. It was an early experience that left me with a cosmic sense of awe at how small our world is, and a reminder that it's the only one we got. History is often told in terms of conflict and wars, but it is the work of institutions like the UN and people like yourselves that nurture and protect our small planet and everyone on it. Everyone here is living proof that wherever you come from and whatever your passion, you can make a meaningful difference. The important part is using your voice however you can. My career in film has given me a platform to engage with the important issues of our time, especially the task of nuclear disarmament. My involvement in nuclear issues goes back to 1979, when I made a movie called The China Syndrome about the nightmare scenario of a nuclear meltdown. The film is written as a horror story, and we were called alarmists for making it. But fiction became reality when the nuclear disaster at 3 Mile Island occurred just days after the film was released. And in our script outline, there were outlined 150 computer steps that need to go wrong for a meltdown scenario to occur. And at 3 Mile Island, which happened just days after the release of our movie, there was 140 of those computer states that were exactly the same. It was the worst commercial nuclear power plant accident in US history. And it was an epiphany for me as I came to understand the dangerous potential of nuclear technology. The personal impact was later underscored when I learned while doing research on my family history that the town in Belarus where my grandfather came from was completely eliminated as a result of downwind damage from the Chernobyl disaster. So began my journey to this organization. And for the past 25 years, I have lent my voice as a messenger of peace to help end the spread of weapons of all kinds in the hope that you and your children will have a world free of violence. Every generation has its own experience with the threat of nuclear technology. During World War II, it was the shocking use of nuclear bombs. For me, it was duck and cover drills hiding under wooden school desks in school. And then it was the tragedies of 3 Mile Island and Chernobyl. You are growing up in a world where nuclear weapons pose a clear and immediate risk. It has never been more important to build and sustain mechanisms for peaceful conflict resolution. Well, thankfully, we have important agreements, such as the Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons, but more needs to be done. A lifetime of engagement with these issues has made several things abundantly clear to me. We must get weapons of all kinds out of people's hands to end the cycle of meaningless violence. We must commit ourselves to combating global threats to human rights, democracy, and the rule of law. And we must address the root causes of violence, whether it be climate change, gender inequality, or racial injustice. Peace and sustainable development are inextricably linked. You cannot have one without the other, and you cannot have either without the participation of everyone. Today, as the world faces the largest number of conflicts since World War II, it is essential to have an organization like the UN on the vanguard of its work. Society is changing with incredible speed, and you are the ones who can best harness that change. You all hold enormous power to make this world a better place to live in. Whatever the failures of the generations past, we hope that you, the next generation to take up this responsibility, can help us right the ship. It is my honor to stand beside you in that work, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Now I'm thrilled to introduce a video by the Department of Peace Operations, which features the UN peacekeepers and community leaders who are working tirelessly to end conflicts and promote peace around the world. I hope it inspires you to continue using your voices to create meaningful and lasting peace. Thank you very much.
Peace, like a smile, is a language everyone understands.
When anger tries to bury me,
and the word spins into chaos,
I will remember that peace begins with me.
When the night engulfs the earth,
like the beautiful break of dawn,
the stellar rise of the sun,
I will remember
that peace begins with me.
Des années à fuir,
des années à espérer,
condamnés à vivre
dans la guerre ou à s'exiler.
Pourtant, une fois on m'a dit,
la paix commence par toi petit.
Alors je choisis de donner pour mieux recevoir.
Close my eyes to better perceive. What would the world be if all hope was lost?
For peace is what you fight for.
C'est battre pour la paix.
Comme une bouteille à la mer, lancée en plein désert.
Moi, je propage un message de paix en temps de guerre.
Across identities and differences,
over countries and continents,
across colors
and cultures,
wars and scriptures.
It is not hard to choose peace.
Peace is a pen writing conviction.
Yet a pencil giving you a chance to start all over again.
If you choose peace,
choisir.
Choisir de garder la paix quand tout ce qu'on a connu, c'est la guerre.
J'ai vu des gens venir de partout dans le monde,
laissant leur famille, leur confort.
Et quand je vois les engagements,
je me dis, j'y croirai jusqu'au bout.
La paix, elle est fragile.
Mais ma dévotion est solide.
Je lui dédierai ma vie.
And just like that, I know that peace begins with me.
Si la paix commence avec moi,
alors le futur me surveille.
If peace begins with me,
then tell the world, I'm ready.
We hope that each and every one of you will share a message of hope by telling us how you contribute to peace. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Michael, and we appreciate your profound commitment to the values and principles of the United Nations and your extraordinary service as a UN messenger of peace. And thank you for those inspiring words. I think everyone will now feel motivated to take individual action towards peace. So we need to say goodbye to Mr. Douglas. As you can imagine, he has a very busy schedule also here at the United Nations headquarters. Let's give Michael Douglas another round of applause. Great to meet you. I am now pleased to introduce you to Saad Ahmar, who will moderate the remainder of today's event. Saad is a climate activist and founder of Justice Environment, and he's a leading voice in the climate movement, having worked in the environmental movement for over a decade. Saad, the floor is yours.
Thank you for that kind introduction, Undersecretary General Fleming. My name is Saad Ahmar, and I will be your host for the program today. Woo! Now here's the thing. I know we're at the UN. I know it's very serious. I know it's the first time for a lot of people, but I want the vibes, right? I want the energy. I want you to all feel like you're welcome in this space, that this is an institution that you belong to and that belongs to you as well. So, yeah. And so I'm going to start by giving my own remarks, and then we'll continue with the entire program. And part of my remarks are some chants. As Secretary Fleming mentioned, Melissa mentioned I do a lot of work with the climate movement, and a large part of the climate movement is the climate strikes. And so I want to introduce to the people who are new to the climate movement a couple of those chants that are going to be integrated into my speech. So I want you to chant with me, okay? What do we want? Climate justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Climate justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? When do we want it? Now. Excellent. The next one. The oceans are rising, and so are we. The oceans are rising. And so are we. The oceans are rising. And so are we. Okay, and the last one is my favorite one. We are unstoppable. Another world is possible. We are unstoppable. Another world is possible. We are unstoppable. Excellent. I'm going to need you to remember all of those because they will be coming. And don't worry, there are some amazing climate movement leaders in the audience as well, so they will guide us through it as well. So, my family is from Pakistan, a third of which was underwater just months ago. Floods consuming villages, leaving villagers with nothing to consume. Poverty to pain, to migration, to violence. I was asked here to deliver peace, just as our world is falling to pieces. They have turned the forest into a fire, the sky into a sewer, the ocean into a dumpster, and then deny and delay and delay and deny. Meanwhile, in the last decade, over 1,700 environmental activists were killed. And in the next 3 decades, we will see an estimated over 200 million climate refugees emerge all across the world. We cannot begin to talk about peace without talking about the climate crisis, because the climate crisis is leading us head first into relentless fossil-fueled wars. They act neutral, then create financial systems that are actively invested in fossil fuels. They tell us to lead and then do everything in their power to stop young people from voting. They ask for peace and then disproportionately burden people of color with the consequences of the climate crisis. What do we want? When do we want it? Now. What do we want? When do we want it? Now. They say so often the world will be better when you're in charge, as if to absolve themselves from the responsibility they have in perpetuating oppressive systems that bake us into a future of fossil-fueled death. What they didn't count on is that we would take the reins now and that we are rewriting our own destiny. Yes, yeah. As the pieces fall apart, we pick them up and restart. As an activist, I live it every day. I have studied the science, I have written policy, I have worked with companies, I've organized marches. I know that we have the solutions. I can track moment to movement, movement to momentum, vote to politician, to policy, to a new future. The tides are changing because the movement is rising. The oceans are rising, and so are we. The oceans are rising. And so are we. On this International Day of Peace celebration, I'm not asking for peace in the sense that we act neutral and stop fighting. Neutrality is not a solution when you face systemic oppression, and it's not peace if it upholds the current system, because the current system relies on fossil fuels that perpetuate injustice. On this International Day of Peace, I demand a just transition, a transition to a new, greener, cleaner system, unbound by race, culture, class, or country, with climate justice for all. Because if we want peace, if we want justice, it takes just us. We are unstoppable. Another world is possible. We are unstoppable. Another world is possible. We are unstoppable. Another world is possible. Thank you. As Undersecretary General Melissa told us, this evening is about the young people who are working with schools and communities to cultivate peace and accelerate progress for the Sustainable Development Goals. I'm really excited about the incredible lineup of speakers. We've seen some already, and we will see many more throughout our program today. Our next speaker is incredible. She is an internationally acclaimed DJ and producer who's based in the UK. Yes. And she was born Florence Otedola. Florence Otedola. Cuppy, as she's known and as I call her. She started her music career as a teenager and has built a reputation as one of the foremost DJs in Nigeria. Her excellence transcends music. Cuppy is an ambassador for Global Citizen and Save the Children. The welfare of young people is at the heart of her work to empower young people to realize their potential through education. And it is my honor to invite Cuppy right here to the lectern to deliver her remarks. But before she does, I know that you need to head out, so please a grand applause for Secretary Melissa. Thank you so much. It was an honor to hear from you. Cuppy, the floor is yours.
Wow, thank you so much, Saad, for that introduction. It is so wonderful to be here. It's actually my second time DJing at the United Nations, so I must be doing something right. Is everyone excited to be here this morning? Young people, can I get a whoop whoop? Yes. Well, again, a good morning, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, and my young delegates, I see you. Firstly, I have to congratulate everyone for being here today because it is an achievement in itself. Peace Day 2023. I was so moved by Michael Douglas. You know, peace really begins with us, indeed. And I want to let you know there is something you might not know. Being here today is not by chance. It is a testament of who every single one of you is and what your values are. because being here means that you're taking action. And being here means that there's something unique and special about each of you that indicates that you can make the world a better place. You can actually be a change maker, and that is pretty epic. I got a wonderful introduction already, but as mentioned, my name is Kapi. I'm an international DJ, philanthropist, and most importantly, I am a fellow student. I would not be standing here if not for my education. And I may not seem that cool right now, maybe, to a couple of, our youth delegates, but I've made some pretty litty moves in my career. I've interned for Jay-Z. I've been on the Forbes 30 Under 30 twice, filmed MTV Cribs, but the coolest thing I've done by far is speaking to all of you today. You see, I have a deep passion to make an impact through education. My devotion to education is what my foundation, the Kapi Foundation, is all about. I started it 6 years ago, and I feel like if SGD4 had an official mascot, it would be a giant cupcake with my face on it. I value education so much that at 30, I have 3 university degrees. One of them, actually, perhaps the most difficult, being from New York University, NYU, right here in this city. And let's just say I might have completed my thesis backstage at Coachella. It seems I have mastered the art of multitasking. But education is everything. It has paved the way for me to develop and grow my confidence. I was a young Nigerian girl with local dreams, but education has allowed me to become a woman with an international vision. And it's not just about the academia, it's actually about developing the discipline and the skill sets to deal with real life. Because let's be honest, life can be tough and can be quite unpeaceful. Talking about real life, in 2019, I went to Borno State in Nigeria, a place that the United Nations has actually noted is an epicenter for violent extremism and terror activity. And I was frightened. A young girl came up to me when she saw me looking anxious. And I'll never forget Miriam, because I asked her, Miriam, if you could be anything, what would you be? Is it a DJ? And she said she would love and she would wish to be a boy so that she could learn. And that really broke my heart. We need to protect, support, and empower girls like Miriam, because everyone, we know youth empowerment brings so much to the table, but do you know education can build the table? So let's ask ourselves and our international community, what are we actually doing for girls like Miriam? Moving back to Nigeria after my master's in NYU, I realized so many women are getting by without having education or formal skills training in their craft. And I saw this as an opportunity to actually contribute. And today I'm so proud my foundation supports young people by accessing and giving them education tools. We have projects that support over 50,000 Nigerian children. And most recently, we've partnered up with Oxford University to provide scholarships for students, for African students. But how did we do all this? It was just by starting, and that's the truth. It's just taking that first step. So I want to challenge each one of you, just one thing, just start. We can do something meaningful. It does not take millions of dollars or millions of social media followers. It just takes an effort. You can find what your gift is. Doing what I love, being able to be here speaking and DJing, is unparalleled. It makes me feel alive. And supporting schools on tour has shown me the real strength of music and what I can do on the decks, but also off the decks. So I'm excited for everyone throughout today to find their own gifts and see how they can use them. How can you contribute to peace in the world through SDGs? What is your first step? How do you start? Is it something you do by yourself? Is it something you do with your friends, with your classmates? Remember, the best way to make an impact, to make a difference, is to start. So I would love to thank the United Nations for this invitation. It has been an honor. Happy International Day of Peace to all of us. And remember that peace begins with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Kapi, for those incredible remarks. And I know that you all are probably like, why did you bring a DJ who's not DJing? You will hear from her, so don't worry. Thank you, Kapi, for sharing your inspiring work and everything you're doing to advance SDG 4, quality education, and SDG 5, achieving gender equality. And thanks for also welcoming us with those Afro beats. Those were fantastic this morning. Whoop, whoop. One more round of applause for DJ Kapi. Our next speaker is an incredible, incredible person who I have the pleasure of personally knowing. She is a humanitarian, sustainable fashion activist and the founder of Designs for Unity and a member of the UN Conscious Fashion and Lifestyle Network. Mariama Kamara is the founder of Mariama Fashion Productions. Mariama Kamara, a New York City-based sustainable fashion brand. And also the Africa's first chain of sustainable stores. The co-founder of There Is No Limit Foundation, and she is an activist and advocate for women and girls' rights. Today is the world debut of her Designs for Unity Peace Collection, a sustainable fashion show. Yeah, give it up for that. And so we'll have the pleasure of seeing 10 of her new original designs, as well as hearing from her to the beats of DJ Kapi. So, Mariama Kamara, take the stage over there and give a round of applause.
This is good. I managed to get here. So I know many of you are wondering why she's walking like that. So I have a little injury, but I will manage to speak. First, I would like to say that I am truly honored to stand before you today on the occasion of the United Nations International Peace Day. This gathering of young mind, passionate heart, and unwavering commitment embodies the hope and potential of our generation to shape a brighter future. The theme of today, Action for Peace, an ambition to support the global goals, underscore the pivotal role that young people like you play in driving positive change on a global scale. It is not enough to simply aspire to a more peaceful and sustainable world. We must translate. Hello? Everything okay? Okay. We must translate our ambition into tangible action that bring us closer to achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. Many years ago, I was young like you, and I was dreaming of one day being in the UN and becoming an agent of change. So I know many of you are in this room today, dreaming to be seated here. I can tell you that 18 years ago, I used to go around the United Nations dreaming to be in, and I got the chance to sit where you're sitting. But you know what I want to tell you today? While you're watching me speaking, I don't want you to only hear me. I want you to become yourself an agent of change. In 2002, when I arrived to the United States, I came with $100 US in my American dream. I started my first organization, There Is No Limit Foundation, with $18. What got me here today is my passion and my willingness to see our world being a better place. I have done many work in the African continent, but today I understand that in order for us to change the world, we must all come together, and that's why we are here, to bring solidarity, You, young people in this room, today you have this same opportunity in your hand. And the question is, are you willing to take action? The world needs your energy, your ideas, and your commitment to make a difference. The future is not a distant place. It's created by the action we take today. So I encourage you, each one of you, to seize this moment. Embrace your role as change makers, and let your actions speak louder than words. Together, we can turn our ambition into reality and create a world that is not just more peaceful and sustainable, but one that is truly equitable and just for all. The power to shape that world lies within each of you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being dedicated to making this world a better place. Thank you. Today, I'm honored to be with you and to present Design for Unity Peace Collection. Created in collaboration with African artisans from Mariama Fashion Production and Mexican artisans from Mazuao in Yucatan, Mexico. I don't know if Roger is here, but hey, shout out for Roger. This collection is a testimony to the power of unity as we focus on sustainability, bringing together individuals and brands that believe in producing products that are good for people and our planet. The Design for Unity Peace Collection represents our commitment to the value that the United Nations International Day of Peace stands for: unity, sustainability, and positive change. It's a symbol of how creativity and craftsmanship can be harnessed for a greater purpose. I would like to take a moment to express our heartfelt to the United Nations. Peace Department, including this incredible event, for including us in this incredible event, and to all our partners who have lent their unwavering support to make this event successful. There is somebody here that I really want to point out, is Patrick Duffy, because you should applaud for him. Patrick Duffy is the founder of Global Fashion Exchange. In 2016, I did the fashion show here in the United States, and he was the one who included me. I think it's very important to acknowledge people. I want to thank the Deviness Group, the Canon Media, and all of you that is here today. As you explore the Design for Unity Peace Collection, I hope you see more than just fashion. I hope you see the potential for change. Each piece carries the dedication of the artisans who crafted them, and the belief that we create a more beautiful and peaceful world through our action. Thank you all for being here today, for your commitment to peace, and for joining us in this journey toward the more sustainable and united future. I'm really pleased to introduce you my video today, and hopefully you'll all like the show. Thank you. Hello everyone, I'm Mariama Kamara. I am originally from the Republic of Guinea, West Africa. I am the founder of Design for Unity, Mariama Fashion Production, and Canafrique. So right now I am preparing the first collection ever that is going to mix West African artisans and Mexican artisans, and also the first time to bring all sustainable brands together from fashion, production, hair, and makeup at the UN. I'm trying to see if I should use some raw materials or some tie and dye or like hand woven that is also very West African. So the choice is a bit difficult, but I'm sure we'll come up with something. Here you have 3 different types of prints. First of all, you have the raw material. So this is coming from Africa. This is what we use basically to dye with natural dye. And from there, we finish and we make these hand woven fabrics. So here you have a clothine, you have a sunflower seeds, you also have eggplants. We can make colors out of a lot of things. For example, we made this fabric out of onion skin because those onions normally they throw it away. We also make fabric out of avocado skin, avocado pits. So there are so many great things around you that you can really use to make your textile. I love Mexico, and when I went to the Yucatan area, I felt like home. Everything inspired me. I was taking a walk and saw a lot of colorful stuff. Then I saw this one store, and when I went inside, I felt like home again. We finally got to speak just a month before the UN asked me to do my collection. So I really told myself right there that this was really meant to be. My goal for this collection that I'm making at the United Nations is really to let the world know that in order for us to bring change, we all have to come together. I always think that a business that is focused on money is a poor business. So we love to create jobs. We love to make sure that we're creating things that are good for the people, but also for our planet. There is this one saying in my country, one finger cannot lift the table, but with many fingers, we can be able to lift the table. And that's exactly what, for me, this collection represents.
Looking forward to expressing myself in different sounds, but I want to make sure that in every track I'm integrating like my own DNA, you know? So even if I'm creating music that's for everyone globally, I'm still rocking where I'm from, and that's here in Ekwe. So even just being here in the soil is amazing. It just takes me back to me being from here and my purpose as an artist.
DJ Copy! Thank you so much, DJ Cuppy, for those incredible beats. And Mariama, what an incredible show. Round of applause for Mariama. What I love so much about what Mariama just did is she really showed a novel way to talk about the SDGs, blending fashion to art to her culture. She's giving us no poverty, it's giving us climate action, it's giving us gender equality. So thank you so much for creating such a powerful display for us all to see at the debut of your new collection, Mariama. Now, up next, we have 4 incredible young change makers who are really taking action towards the SDG 2030 agenda. The first speaker is David He, who hails from Canada and is of Chinese descent. David is a passionate person about making Canada a more inclusive and equitable place for all. In 2017, he founded the Global Spotlight, an international initiative that transforms youth into change makers through stories and mentorship. In 2021, David was appointed to the Prime Minister's Youth Council by Justin Trudeau to provide nonpartisan advice to his office and the federal government on education, economy, climate change, and other issues facing youth. This year is the 75th anniversary of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and David was selected, yes, a round of applause for that. And David was selected as a Youth Advisory Group member by the United Nations Office High Commissioner for Human Rights. David, can't wait to hear what you have to say. Let's go.
Thank you for the wonderful introduction, everyone. Good morning. Growing up, the walls in our immigrant household echoed with stories of resilience and dreams. Over 45 years ago, a girl started her journey on a path in a small, impoverished community in China. She didn't have the privilege of even the most basic yellow-tinted light bulbs. Night after night, she trekked those dark paths in her community, all to find a sliver of light to complete her math homework. That little girl from a poor village would eventually become my mother, proudly becoming the first person ever in my family to go to a university. Though my mother's journey is uniquely hers, it represents a universal truth. The universal truth that her hopes and dreams are shared by all of us. They mirror the aspirations of everyone here today, resonating deep within and fueling my commitment to serve every single day. In high school, I grasped the impact of these stories, propelling me to lead projects in my local community. This passion for storytelling, for activism, led me to advise the Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, for the past 2 years. There, I was tasked with understanding and presenting narratives and policies from across the globe to decision makers across Cabinet. Today, myself and a group of advisors are working closely with the UN Human Rights Office to craft a youth declaration, a reflection of our collective hope, a beacon for the next chapter of human rights. But my friends, throughout my work, one thing remained clear. When I represented Canadian youth at the G20 in India last month, it wasn't just policy discussions that mattered. What mattered was a shared laugh about Taylor Swift with another delegation. It was about hauling my heavy DJ equipment 11,000 kilometers away in the Himalayas and mixing music to connect cultures. It was deep, late-night conversations about our path here that truly bridge divides. But why is this so crucial? Why is this so important today? Because in a world driven by divisive politics and fear, we often overlook our shared humanity. We often forget the stories, the dreams, and the adversity that connects us. We forget the stories of pain, of the young people I met struggling to find acceptance of their identities in a world often held back by old-fashioned beliefs as we speak. We forget the stories of suffering, of local communities in my home province of British Columbia grappling with the devastating effects of climate change, or a close friend's family being torn apart by the war in Ukraine as we speak. My friends, when a child refugee is stranded on the Mediterranean shore, or a young girl lacks the right to an education, it should matter to all of us, not just some of us. That, my friends, is the power of narrative, of dialogue, and of stories. Growing up, the walls in our immigrant household echoed with stories of resilience and dreams. From the walls of the United Nations today, I am once again reminded of those echoes, of the narratives that shaped my worldview and compelled all of us to act. As we gather here, let us be the generation that chooses hope over cynicism, unity over division, and action over indifference. For in our hands lies not just stories of the past, but the unwritten chapters of our shared future. Let us ensure that future tells a story of a world more just, more inclusive, and more hopeful than we found it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, David, for those inspiring words and the work you're doing to advance human rights and SDG 10 to reduce inequalities within and among countries. Our next speaker, Karamot Odebode, is a lawyer and an award-winning poet from Ereban, Nigeria. She's the founder and project lead at the Black Girls Dream Initiative, a youth-led organization that aims to close the gender gap in education and push inclusiveness through the arts, advocacy, research, technology, and sports. Karamot is one of the United Nations 17 SDG Young Leaders for the class of 2020, and she uses her poetry to promote the SDGs and create a safer world for women and girls. Please join me in kindly welcoming Karamot. Woo!
Thank you very much. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. It's really an honor to be back here on the stage. My name is Karimot Odebode, a poet, an education advocate from Ibadan, Nigeria, and most importantly, a student like many of you here. I started my master's degree at the Harvard School of Education in August this year, driven by the sole purpose of a world that stands on the foundation of peace. This might sound a little bit vague. To be exact, I am currently studying education policy and analysis at the Graduate School of Education. I am bothered about the fact that where I come from, Nigeria, has about 20 million out-of-school children. The SDGs are personal to me. I believe in the singular fact that every child has the right to quality education. Unfortunately, in today's world, that is not so. Children where I come from are out of school. Girls in Afghanistan are denied education. Women and girls are dying from hunger in IDP camps in northern Nigeria. And that in itself is a violation of peace. I founded the Black Girls Dream Initiative in a bid to transform education. And in 3 years, we have trained teenagers aged 10 to 19 the art of public speaking, research, and debate through the Ibadan Schools Debate Training and Competition, with a direct impact of 1,117 students and 53 secondary schools, both public and private. This project has transformed education for teenagers, particularly girls, by providing out-of-classroom learning experience that improve their technical skills and their soft skills and allow them to function in today's world. We have used this project to transform education in Nigeria by using debate as a tool for quality education, and also to revive the debating culture, which has a ripple effect on our tolerance level as a nation. Peace is fundamental to our progress as human. Our work must not exclude anyone because of their gender. Gender equality is critical to the achievement of global peace. We must ensure girls and women are not subjected to harmful traditional practices like female genital mutilation. Another area of the work that I do at the Black Girls Dream Initiative is our campaign against female genital mutilation, and I am committed to end FGM in this generation. We must take into consideration how these harmful traditional practices are drawing us back in achieving a peaceful world. As we celebrate the International Day of Peace, I am encouraging students like you to look inward, within, and outward. Look inward at yourself. Look outward at your community by taking actions to foster peace and achieve the 2030 agenda. I am also calling on government and leaders to embrace the global goals in attaining global peace. Remember, the world belongs to each of us, and it is our collective responsibility to build a world that rests on the foundations of peace. Àlàáfíà fún gbogbo yín. Peace for you. Peace for the world. Thank you. Woo.
Thank you, Karimot, for sharing with us the great work that you are doing to promote education and gender equality and to fight to end female genital mutilation. SDG 13, ensuring healthy lives and promote well-being for all ages, and SDG 4, quality education, and SDG 5, gender equality. Our next speaker traveled far to get here. Niga Salam is a Kurdish artist and photographer and lead teacher with the Lens of Life project in the Syrian refugee camp Arbat, Iraq. The Lens of Life project is a not-for-profit organization committed to providing photography and computer literacy training for youth around the globe. This year, she will also be the lead for the Canon Young People program in Iraq and collaborate with the Lens of Life on that project. Her work focuses on gender-related issues, environment, and identity. The floor is yours.
Ladies, gentlemen, esteemed delegates, and distinguished guests, I acknowledge and greatly appreciate your presence. I am honored to be a part of this important day at the United Nations. Where I come from is a place that the world has often associated with war and terror, fueled by divisive and rhetoric and fundamentalism. As a practicing artist and a teacher at Lens on Life, an organization dedicated to storytelling through photography and digital literacy, I see myself as a part of a group working to counter hatred through the promotion of peace and the sustainable development goals. As a photographer and an artist, I make art to create questions which motivate change of thought, as a stance against mindsets fueled by hatred. I do this by questioning limiting ideas that I was taught and fed during my upbringing. I use myself and things related to me as subject to my art. As I question myself in the process, I use it to inspire change in others. The process has been the catalyst to finding my authentic identity and creating peace in my community through the promotion of education and equality. I am a proud Kurd. And it has been an immense privilege to advance the narrative of peace by teaching photography to Syrian Kurds, to tell their stories and to make their voices heard even when so many are subjected to living in refugee camps and treated as outsiders. It is hard to wake up every day and think about what goes on in the world, including the money crisis that the UN Secretary General mentioned in their message earlier, just to remember the weight of the responsibility that youth have to challenge some of the violent and dangerous acts in their communities. I believe that in order to change something, one should start within themselves. As youth, we should understand and embrace that someday we will be guiding the world through its dire and hopefully better times. We should look at where we are now and how people in power must do better and aspire to be better as we fill their shoes. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nig, for the work you're doing in Iraq to advance SDG 5, gender equality, and SDG 13, climate action. Our next speaker is Idris Brewster, a Brooklyn-based artist who works with creative technologies and is an educator. Idris disrupts traditional narratives through spatial experiences, all the while empowering others to do the same. His work explores the liminal space between the historical archive, public space, and technology. Idris is the executive director of the Kinfolk Foundation, an augmented reality archive that puts the power of momentum making and historical preservations into the hands of Black and brown communities. The floor is yours.
Whew. Thank you, everybody. I'm really glad to be here speaking at the UN. It is my first time. A little nervous, but thank you. So, as I said, my name is Idris. I'm a Brooklyn native, executive director of Kinfolk, artist, and I'm also the product of generations of storytellers who were able to bring myself here today. And so today I stand with you invoking those folks and the spirit of also my childhood self, a humble kid from Brooklyn. Growing up in Brooklyn, I was lucky enough to be part of a loving, connected community, surrounded by a beautifully resilient history of my ancestors who built this nation with their own two hands. But as technology progressed, I witnessed firsthand the erasure of that history, erasure of those stories, erasures of the lived experiences of my ancestors and future ancestors. And so when I walk these streets of New York today, I don't recognize it. The beautiful soundscapes of basketball, hip hop, bantering have been replaced by large housing developments that stick out like a sore thumb. And one of the last bastions of culture in New York City, Flatbush, Brooklyn, where I live now, around the corner in Bedford and Church Avenue, there are housing developments that are being built on top of the resting places of our enslaved ancestors. This is known as the Flatbush Ancestral Burial Grounds. It's a bleak time when our progress is erasing our past. How can we move equitably into the future when we refuse to acknowledge that past? How can we improve when our school systems around the country and the globe are actively banning the teaching of that true history? How can we have peace when our streets are littered with monuments of oppressors who would have owned people like myself and my ancestors? We are currently at a crisis of dehumanization of Black and brown lives across the world. And with this erasure of my history running rampant, how do we reckon with that? And so if we trace these footprints of history, whether it's the triumphs of maroon societies of Jamaica and Haiti, or the resilience of people like Denmark Vesey, Ida B. Wells, and Marsha P. Johnson, we'd see countless stories of people and places, the narratives of communities who have struggled, flourished, endured, and reimagined themselves time and time again. The great Sun Ra always said, history repeats itself. History repeats itself. And now is no different. So through collective action, we can mold new technologies to reimagine new futures. And that is exactly the work that I'm doing with my nonprofit Kinfolk. Through the creation of digital monuments, we are capturing these stories, chronicling the tales of cities and their inhabitants, both past, present, and future. Our work is not merely about preserving this history, it's about shaping the future, about harnessing the vibrant energy of our places and our communities to inspire and provoke change. Technologies like augmented reality have provided us with the tools to take that erasure, pain, and struggle and fight back, filling in those gaps of history. Kinfolk wields technology as a tool to bridge, not to break, to overlay this world with the erased stories of our ancestors, providing depth, context, and nuance to spaces that have been silenced. If Pokemon Go can fill our streets with Charizards and Pikachus, why can't we do, ooh. Wow, there we go. That happened. So, I'll start again. To overlay our world with the erased stories of our ancestors, providing depth and context to spaces that have been silenced. If Pokemon Go filled our streets with Charizards and Pikachus, why can't we do the same with the stories of our past, present, and future? And so I'm often reminded of a quote from Robin G. Kelley. Without new visions, we don't know what to build. We only know what to knock down. And so Kinfolk enables us to build that collective vision, a vision that challenges us not only to cherish the stories of our past, but create new ones, to realize that the world around you is a dynamic tapestry that you can shape, color, and texture. By freedom dreaming, by invoking our radical imagination, especially when the world is demanding that we do not do so. We can envision our urban landscapes and rural spaces not just as concrete and metal, but as living, breathing organisms filled with memories. But who is all of this effort for? And the answer is simple. All of you within the room right now, especially the youth, the next generation of dreamers, rebels, artists, technologists. The dynamic quilt of history is a testament to the fact that the passion of the youth is always the vanguard for change. And so my ancestors are calling on all of you to engage, to learn, to reimagine, to see what our surroundings, our environments, that they're not static, but that they're stories waiting to be told and retold. To view education as something that is not just about the four walls of a classroom or printed words in a textbook, but an act of weaving a world outside of the confines of the traditional institutions where every voice is heard and every story is shared, and learning is a boundless journey that extends throughout the entirety of our planet. So my call is for us to unite. With imagination as our compass and technology as our vessel, let's sculpt a world echoing every voice, where peace isn't some distant mirage, but a living reality. And so we have everything that it takes within us to build a world that we're all proud to call home. Let's imagine it, create it, make it ours. The future isn't something that just happens to us, it's something that we build together. So let's get to it. Thank you.
Thank you, Idris, for sharing with us on how you are using creative technologies to help advance SDG 4 for quality education and SDG 10 to reduce inequality within and among countries. We're now pleased to present the exclusive global launch of Infinite, an artwork that exemplifies our collective aspiration for global peace. Infinite was created by artist Marco Conti-Sikic as part of the Unite to Act campaign's SDG art exhibition. Mr. Sikic began to create art as a child during the war in former Yugoslavia as a way to escape reality and imagine a better future. Infinite is a moving and captivating artwork that encapsulates the continuum of peace, flowing from innocence of childhood to the nurturing force of motherhood and to triumph of harmonious architectural expressions that blend the past and the future. Wrapped in a sphere of unity and set against the grandeur of the cosmos, the artwork highlights the golden thread of peace, precious, enduring, and foundational aspect of our shared prosperity. I'm excited for us to now watch the world premiere of this incredible digital artwork. Thank you to the SDG Action Campaign team from the United Nations Development Program based in Bonn, Germany, for sharing this powerful digital art exhibit. Only when we unite and act for peace and sustainable development can we truly aspire for a better future for all. So round of applause again for that incredible art display. It is now my honor to introduce a musical performance by the Grammy Award-winning Brooklyn Youth Chorus, led by founder and artist director Birkun Manakar. Round of applause for Birkun. Founded in 1992, the Brooklyn Youth Chorus is regarded as one of the top youth choruses in the United States, noted both for its artistic rigor and its high quality of musical training. It has served nearly 10,000 public school students in its after-school and public programs. This diverse group of singers uses their artistic talent to confront the challenges of the present and future. I'm so excited for this incredible performance from the Brooklyn Youth Choir.
Truth is told, not fed, by Olive Lentz. Truth is our center. Truth is central. A shared civic reality holds the social body together, and without truth, it will not hold.
So, how do we sing about truth? How do we call out into the world the importance of truth? How do we call in truth?
We share, we connect to wisdom and not just knowledge. We engage, we expand our hearts, and we listen. Truth is told, not fed.
won't fit in a square. How do they dare? Truth can't be fed. It will only be told. Would you recognize me? What have you created? Was it lighting lights? What's the shape of your dreams? Where's your mirror? Where's your friend? 404, who is shaping your fears? Truth won't be fed, it will only be told. There was a little bee, the center being sound, so concerned with all the shapes, putting all of them away. It took to outer space, with all the shapes of sound, and died in outer space, looking only at itself. What you eat, kiss your grandmother's feet, alive to the truth is, truth is, alive to the truth is, truth is, alive to the truth is, truth is, alive to the truth is. I see your face on the other side, how? Like rain from a cloud, wow. Truth is round, what? It won't fit in a square. How do they dare? Truth won't be fed, it will only be told. The future is lost, 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 the future is lost. Where's your mirror? Where's your friend? 404, who is shaping your fears? Truth won't be fed, it will only be told. I see your face on the other side. 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 Like rain from a cloud.
Apple Tree by Aurora is about believing in the young generation, believing in your inner child, and that unrealistic dreams of saving the world can be true. Apple Tree is about living your life with a purpose.
Sin is the word, love is not a sin. People are bad, people are good, just like the
Wow, wow, wow. How absolutely extraordinary. I feel I could conduct an orchestra now. You know, maybe we'll do that next. We're not doing that. Thank you to the Brooklyn Youth Choir for such an incredible rendition of the pieces Down to the River, To Pray, Truth is Told, Not Fed, and Apple Tree. And now we're turning to 5 exceptional young people. You can take the stage. Who are going to share about the work that they do in their schools and their communities to support sustainable development. So if you could come to the stage now. Great. I feel on this International Day of Peace, it's really such a communal, powerful moment for us all to be here together in shared space and in unity, for us to be thinking about gender equality, about climate action, about no poverty, about all of the sustainable development goals. And I know that oftentimes this language can be very intense and hard for people to understand. It can be a little jargony. But at the same time, I think when we start to understand it and see how our work applies to that work, we really can fundamentally take action within our own communities. And that's what this event is about. It's all about coming together and building community. And so I'm excited for our first presenter to come and speak. She is an incredible young person named Janani Shivakumar from the Velar Tamil Iyakam Tamil School of Education in Edison, New Jersey. Welcome, Janani. Please take the podium.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Janani Shivakumar, and I'm a sophomore at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, and the founder of Girls Play Global, a grassroots nonprofit organization to educate and empower girls in rural India through the power of soccer. Using sports as a vehicle for change, we host annual tournaments with a purpose, with each year's theme being aligned with a different UN Sustainable Development Goal. We are using soccer as a tool for collaboration, education, and advocacy of global issues to find solutions for a sustainable future. As food security and sustainability issues continue to impact our world, it is important to reimagine our farming practices and consumption habits. As more and more people shift towards plant-based forms of living and eating, it is important that we transform our current methods of farming. The UN officially declared 2023 the International Year of Millets, and India has been a major champion of this mission. Millets are a type of cereal grain commonly grown in Africa and Asia. Estimates show that over 90 million people in these regions depend on millets in their diets. This ancient food grain turned superfood has proven to be an incredibly viable food option for communities worldwide. Millets are extremely sustainable, requiring significantly less water than rice, and are drought resistant. They are gluten-free, an excellent source of protein, and have a low glycemic index, making them a great option for addressing the rise of health issues like diabetes and heart disease. As we seek new ways to address the growing effects of climate change, like food insecurity, it is important that we consider alternative crops to meet the demand for healthy food. In order to raise awareness about these benefits, this year our soccer tournament was themed Match for Millets. The event featured a completely millet-based menu for all players and attendees, a student-led presentation campaign about millets, and hosted industry specialists in food and wellness. Over 300 people witnessed a celebration of talent and spirit as these young female soccer players came together to promote SDG 3, good health and well-being, and SDG 13, climate action, in support of the International Year of Millets. I'm proud to say that the Match for Millets created over 100 millet ambassadors who will be continuing the mission of promoting the benefits of millets in their local communities. As youth, we can take the lead in transforming our food systems to be more equitable and sustainable by going beyond the tried and tested methods of enacting change. We are actively using sports to bring communities together and as an avenue to address global issues such as food insecurity. So join us in continuing to champion this mission of promoting sports for peace and building young female role models globally. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that. I didn't forget about all of you all over here. How are you doing? Love to hear it. I'm so excited for the speech that we just heard. Thank you so much, Janani, for taking such concrete steps in helping to advance SDG 3 for good health and well-being and SDG 5 for gender equality and all of the other intersectional issues that cross the work that you do. It's incredible. Our next presenter is Eric Fernandez Carbajal of the Comité de Paz de Guerrero, the youth group in Mexico, who is presenting on behalf of his colleague, Carlos Pinoz Martinez. Welcome, Eric. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Good morning. My name is Eric Fernandez. I'm going to present the Education is the Engine of Social Mobility project led by Carlos Pinzón Martinez. Education is the Engine of Social Mobility is a project born with the purpose of contributing to the demand for the right to an inclusive, fair, and high-quality education. To achieve this, Carlos Pinzón has been actively involved as a local leader advocating for the right to education for indigenous children in the mountain region of the state of Guerrero. The mountain region is the most marginalized area in Mexico and Latin America, and this social project being developed by our colleague Carlos as part of the Youth Delegation for Peace in the state of Guerrero aims to promote and bring about significant change that will improve educational conditions in the mountain region due to the high rates of educational lack, poverty, and social inequality. In the mountain region of the state of Guerrero, Mexico, due to a lack of opportunities, children and young people emigrate to other states or even other countries looking forward to better living conditions from a very young age. On the other hand, those young people who don't emigrate often engage in the cultivation of poppy and marijuana, and in the worst cases, join criminal and armed groups, leading to a high level of violence in the region. In the case of young women aged 14, 15, and 16, they are exposed to violence by their own families forced into arranged marriage. Given this issue, the main objective of this project is to promote bilingual, inclusive, and high-quality education that will enable upward socioeconomic mobility. This will be crucial for escaping poverty, ignorance, and above all, for fostering a culture of peace. And this project aligns with the Sustainable Development Goals on the 2030 Agenda, specifically 1, 4, and 17, which are ending poverty, quality education, and partnerships to achieve the goals. To reach long-term sustainability, the government and society must work together. The activities we have carried out in the state of Guerrero in the mountain region include 1, sensitizing and motivating children to continue their studies by speaking to them in the native language, which is Mixteco Tuunsabi. 2, assisting parents in applying for scholarships offered by the national and subnational government. 3, providing career guidance to children to help them make better choices for their professional studies. 4, establishing strategic partnership with non-governmental organizations to promote the right to inclusive, equitable, and high-quality education. And 5, promoting bilingual education so that the children in this region do not forget their mother language. 6, promoting a culture of positive peace and gradually eradicating the culture of violence and sexism. The present and future of our region is in our hands, and education is an indispensable tool for the progress and well-being of our society. It serves as an engine of social mobility, reducing social inequality and fostering a culture of peace. It is an honor for me to present the project on behalf of Carlos Pinzón Martinez, and I am deeply thankful for the opportunity to give voice to his valuable work at this event. Carlos, your dedication is an example of all of us. Y muchas gracias por tu increíble trabajo y dedicación. Paisano, thank you for all.
What powerful words. Thank you, Eric, for traveling all the way here to deliver and share that message with us, and for all the work you do on SDG 4, quality education, and SDG 10, reducing inequalities. Our next presenter is Alexandra Davidescu of the Bronx High School of Science. Alexandra, the floor is yours.
Good morning, honorable delegates and fellow youth. I'm Alexandra Davidescu, a Bronx Science junior and one of the creators of Human Rights Across America, a Trial by Tale. This is a student-coded project that is focused on creating a safe space for youth to learn more about the inequalities faced by women and African Americans during the women's suffrage and civil rights movements. This project was a result of the collaborative efforts of myself as head of graphic design and assistant coder, and of my partners, Haruno Sumimoto and Nicole Zen, both excellent groupmates and coders. Through Games for Change, we were encouraged to give peace a chance. And so we chose to accentuate the strides America has made to bring us one step closer to an almost fictitious peace. Now, to properly set the stage, imagine the following. You're a high-profile journalist who just recently received news of a novel time machine. You can take this opportunity to write an article on the complex history of civil rights and suffrage in the United States. By choosing to either visit the peak of the women's suffrage movement or take a glimpse into Martin Luther King's iconic I Have a Dream speech, students have the opportunity to immerse themselves in two crucial parts of American history. As part of a generation that has received both the benefit and the brunt of online learning, we wanted to create a game that was not only informational, but entertaining for all of its players. As a result, we drew inspiration from our experiences as both gender and racial minorities in STEM, the fields of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and we were motivated to bring awareness to these inequalities. Ultimately, we worked towards the UN's goals of providing education on reducing inequalities, standing up for human rights, and emphasizing the importance of gender equality. To expand, we addressed the SDG Goal 5 of gender inequality by emphasizing the need for women's suffrage and involvement in government. Along with Goal 10, which was to reduce inequalities, we wanted our game to convey the ideas of social, economic, and political inclusion of all, regardless of gender or race. Additionally, this game symbolizes Goal 16, to reduce violence, since players can draw a protest board to promote peace and learn about the importance of the March on Washington. To sum up, we are beyond grateful to have been given this opportunity and hope to make positive strides towards peace with our project, since peace does begin within us. And we want to remind you to give peace a chance. If you're interested, please feel free to scan our QR code to our Peace Project, and we thank you for your time.
That's incredible and looks like so much fun. Thank you, Alexandra, and all your colleagues for sharing how you use gaming to take action on SDG 5, gender equality, SDG 10, reduced inequalities, and SDG 13, peace and justice. And now let's welcome our next presenter, Zarif Abdin, who is a member of the New York City's Junior Ambassador Program managed by the Mayor's Office of International Affairs. Zarif, take it away.
Good morning and happy International Peace Day to all. I'm grateful and very privileged to be standing up here talking to you all today at such a significant event. My name is Zarif Abdin. I'm a former junior ambassador from East New York's Liberty Avenue Middle School. I am now an aspiring Brooklyn Technical High School student. That's a freshman. I'm a former, For the past 2 years, I've worked closely and become passionate about SDG 5.2 and SDG 16.2. Both targeting human trafficking. And as any family in New York, my family commutes using public transportation on a daily basis. With trafficking rates increasing, it puts my sister and my mom at risk daily getting to work or school. Today, we've come together to celebrate world peace. But what is a way we can build on world peace and bring further peace? Well, we can improve world peace with the end of human trafficking. Now, what is human trafficking and how does it disrupt peace? Human trafficking strips an individual of all of their rights. Anybody can fall victim to human trafficking. While women and girls fall into sex trafficking, younger boys also tend to be trafficked for forced labor or modern-day slavery. Every year, thousands of people all around the world get trafficked, and the cases only increase. Trafficking strains the individual and their families mentally, destroying peace within society and families. Now, how did I stand up for human trafficking? Me and my group of junior ambassadors researched and dove into the trends of trafficking. A rally was held at my school, and we had stands that educated our community and schools about these trends. We also connected with the New York City Mayor's Office of Gender-Based Violence, who had their own stand at their rally, further supporting our area's understanding of trafficking. A fundraiser also took place, and following the fundraiser, a dress-down day was also hosted. Students pay $1 to dress out of uniform and wear blue to support the end of trafficking. All the money raised was donated to an organization working to stop trafficking. Lastly, my group built upon a website which educated people about the dangers of trafficking. Those are things that we did to put a stop to human trafficking and bring upon peace. Now, what can you do? No issue is too hard to understand and manage as a young generation. Communicate with your local leaders in your area to address this issue and discuss how to take steps towards making sure human trafficking doesn't happen. Continue to support the SDGs. These goals set a guideline for everybody to follow in order to maintain peace. They come together to stop human trafficking. Support victims in your area and educate people in your area of these trends. Lastly, don't limit yourself to the local activism. Take steps globally using the internet and other platforms to stop human trafficking. With that addressed, I want to leave you all with a very influential quote. By reaffirming the rights and dignity of all people, we can recover better, more inclusively, and more sustainably. Gada Wali. Happy International Peace Day to all once again, and thank you.
Amazing work that you're doing, Zarif. Thank you for everything you're doing to fight for SDG 5, gender equality, SDG 16, peace and justice. Our next presenter is Anushi Kale. She traveled here today from Houston, Texas, baby. Anushi, welcome. The floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Anshuni Kale, and I'm one of the co-presidents of the Period Pack Houston, along with my other co-president, Kellyanne, who is also here today. Period poverty is defined as the lack of accessibility or affordability of menstrual hygiene products and educational materials such as sanitary products, washing facilities, and waste management resources. As many as 500 million women across the globe lack the access to basic menstrual products. The Period Pact Houston was designed to increase accessibility and distribute menstrual products to low-income schools in the greater Houston community. The underlying issue here is that the government doesn't fund these schools with access to menstrual products for them to provide with their students. So there are either two options. One, schools simply can't afford the products to place in their restrooms and provide for their students, or nurses have to pay out of their own pockets, which is extremely costly at times. Since our Period Pact is not yet an official registered 501c3 organization, we can't really receive any monetary help or funding outside. We have to collect all of these products on our own. Our team has hosted menstrual product drives at our local high schools, and throughout only student donations, we have received over 100,000 menstrual products to donate to schools in Houston. We host period packing parties as a group, spending around 4 to 8 hours at a time to package these donations, and we host drop-off days for school nurses to come and pick these products up. We have reached almost 150 Houston schools and raised almost $2 million in period product funding. During the pandemic, our team also lobbied with State Representative Donna Howard to pass a bill that eliminates the pink tax in Texas. The pink tax is essentially an added tax on feminine products, which adds to the extreme effects of period poverty that we see today. This bill has been recently passed in Texas, so we are super hopeful and extremely excited for the societal progression that we see from our actions today. I also do want to emphasize the importance of tackling global issues such as period poverty. As shown on the slide, we can see that period poverty tackles a lot of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, such as no poverty, good health and well-being, as well as gender equality and sanitation. Period poverty creates a burden for women to accomplish tasks, especially when all women can't pay the cost or access these menstrual products, which is a basic necessity for good health and well-being. By engaging with issues such as period poverty, we are actively being involved in the process to ensure that women have the basic standard of living that every human deserves. We are so excited to continue expanding our project and our impact to fight for gender equality. Thank you.
Thank you, Anushi, for all the work that you and your colleagues are doing for SDG 1, poverty, SDG 3, good health, well-being, and SDG 5, gender equality. And it's so great to hear such powerful remarks from the groups that you and your students are all doing together to take action for the SDGs. As we're approaching the midpoint to the deadline set for achieving the 2030 Sustainable Development Goal agenda, the UN recently launched the hashtag #ActNow social media challenge to encourage people to join through the engagements. After reaching an initial goal of 100,000 actions, the UN has set a new target to double its efforts for SDGs in 4 weeks. So far, over 14 million actions have been taken worldwide. Round of applause for that. And now we have a short video on the hashtag #ActNow campaign, so let's take a look. Whoop, whoop. So now we are going to have a cute little photo moment. So if you look at your desks, there may be a flag right now on your seats. If you have one of those, I would like everybody to grab that. Take your flag, and everybody stand up. Let's stand up. Are you all standing? I love it. Okay. So we're going to have a cute little photo moment for the Act Now for Peace Global Goals campaign. So everybody take your flags, raise them up. Raise them up. Yeah, everybody. Act now for peace. 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 Woo! Amazing. Thank you so much. You can take your seats. So, we have a very special opportunity now. Thank you for joining us in our cute little photo moment. We have a few of the speakers that presented today that are still here. So if you've spoken today, I know Mariama is still here. We have a couple of our other speakers. So if you're one of the speakers that has spoken today, just take a stand up for us so everyone can see you. Just stand up if you've spoken today. All of you, yeah. I know you guys are still in the house. I know you're over here. Amazing. So we've had so many great people speaking today, myself included. And right now we have time for a Q&A, but we are limiting it to 2 questions. So if you have a great question, if there's something you've been burning to ask, if there's something you're really passionate about that you heard here today, raise your hand and we'll come down to you. Raise your hand if you have a question for anybody here or myself about anything that you've heard here today. Who has a question? This is your chance to speak at the United Nations. Anybody? Okay, we have a question right over here. Could you tell me your name, your school, where you're from, and ask your question, whoever it is addressed to?
Hi, I'm Alexandra Davidescu. I was up there a little earlier, but I'm from the Bronx High School of Science, and my question is for DJ Cuppy.
Great, DJ Cuppy. Ooh, what's your question for DJ Cuppy?
What brought you to want to make the connection between music and just making a difference in the world, since I'm also very passionate in both, and it's just something very important to me.
Amazing. DJ Cuppy!
Thank you so much for your question. So the question was, what made me want to make the link between, my sort of passion for music, but also impacting the world? And to be honest, it's the fact that anything worth doing is worth doing well. And for me, I turned 30 recently, and it's about making sure I constantly feel alive. And I remember setting up goals for myself. I want to go to college, I want to DJ at a festival. And as we go through life, hitting those landmarks and ticking those boxes, we just put another goal, and we just write another list of dreams. And the one thing that makes me feel alive is helping others. It doesn't compare, and it just ignites a fire within me. So for me, being able to have a career in the music industry, but do it in a unique way, being able to be someone that does things, I love pink, I call it the pink print. It's about doing what you do, but doing it your way, and no one can compare to yourself. So my advice for you is, if you love music, what's your name? How is Alexandra gonna do music Alexandra's way? How is she going to make a difference? And how is she going to be an example to the world? So it's up to you. Thank you.
And we have another question over here. Could you tell us your name, your school, or your affiliation, and who, if anyone, your question is addressed to?
So my name is David Adesanya. I'm affiliated with United Nations Foundation. And I guess my question is, when we are pursuing peace, many of us have different definitions, different understandings of it. So I guess my question is, how do you work to collectively build a united vision? Because our definitions of peace can come at loggerheads together. So yeah, how do we unite that?
That's a great question. And is your question for anyone in particular, or?
Anyone who feels inspired to answer that question.
Okay, great. Then maybe we will have Mariama answer this question for us. Mariama, how do we build peace together, and what brings it together? Can you repeat your question?
Okay. Yeah, so the fact that we have multiple definitions of peace in different societies, how do we come together to collectively have a united vision, especially when they can be at loggerheads?
I couldn't hear it well, but I think you're referring to how do we all come together. So for me, I would say the best example is what happened today when we presented the collection. I'm all the way from West Africa, Guinea, and Roger is all the way from Mexico. So what we did, we decided to do a collection together that can inspire the world, and that means unity, it means solidarity. So I would say, don't think about where you are, don't think about yourself, think about outside of your country, outside of your environment and your comfort zone. And many times when I spoke at the UN, I always make sure to tell everyone that in order for us to change the world, we all need to come together. Because everybody's always focused in the area that they're in, where they're from, but that's not what is going to change the world. It's when we all come together, and that's why we are all here today, and I hope you all will take action and to come together and to change the world. Thank you.
Oh, Mariama, I gave you the microphone because you just always inspire me, and you always know what to say, and all those looks were such a slay today that I'm so excited to just be in the company of your own personal New York Fashion Week moment at the United Nations. So round of applause for Mariama. So today was so exciting because we got to hear from so many incredible people. We heard from top UN officials and dynamic change makers. We got to see dynamic performances from bright young activists such as yourselves who could share experiences with one another. And we hope that you'll take what you learned today back to your colleges, your communities, and that you'll recognize the power that you have when we all come together and collectively act, when we collectively mobilize, when we collectively act for the Sustainable Development Goals. Remember that you are not alone. In addition to your peers in this room, you have support from the United Nations as you strive to create a world where everyone is included and everybody can thrive. And so I have a few important housekeeping notes to let everybody know what's up today. So as I'm doing that, we'll have some incredible beats from DJ Cuppy. So the first thing is lunch. There are 2 places dedicated. Let's get some music. Yeah. Great. So for lunch, there are 2 places designated for you to have lunch. A team of volunteers will guide you outside to the promenade or some areas, and you'll be directed to our bookshop area. If you're leaving now, please exit through the balcony. If you're staying for a workshop, please exit in the back left corner on level 1B. The workshops, all the workshops, will take place on the lower basement floor 1B, except for the slam poetry, which will be in the UN library. I'm also personally teaching one of the workshops myself on movement building and environmental justice. So if you're bored, maybe you go to that, although I think you're supposed to sign up before. Anyway, if you're registered for a workshop at 1 p.m., please start heading to your workshop room to be there at 1 p.m. You can scan the QR code that you have to see where your workshop will be held, and our team of volunteers will guide you to our workshop as well. We encourage you to visit the UN Bookshop and receive 10% off your purchase when you show your printed badge. We also have we're almost done, guys. Give me a second. We have a virtual arcade with games thanks to Games for Change, a virtual arcade which is available for you to play during lunch. So no download is required. You can just go on the QR code and it'll take you to where you can play that. It's now my honor to introduce to you the Chief of Education Outreach, Jairashi Wyatt.
Thanks, everybody. This has been an amazing, amazing International Day of Peace with all of you young people here. I know it's been a long but awesome program, so we thank you just for a little bit more of your patience and time. I just wanted to let you know that we do have an incredible t-shirt giveaway. The t-shirts say Peace for All, so when you're leaving, you can grab them from the GA lobby. You're just going to tell them your size, and then they'll give you a t-shirt.
So everybody over there, you can scan your QR code. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us for International Day of Peace. Thank you for organizing and mobilizing. Thank you for being with us here today. We love you. Woo! Let's get those SDGs.
I want to see you go low. Mommy, anywhere you go, I swear I follow. You give me love, oh, but I never seen before. I want penny, me pay, I won't pay. Don't you know dance, you baby? If you never go, don't you? Softly roll it, baby. Me say, dance it for me. Roll it for me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wine it for me. Baby girl, you give me love.
I don't wanna be lonely. Need me someone to hold me. Tease me.
Baby girl,
please me. Squeeze me. I don't wanna be lonely. Need me someone to hold me. Tease me. Please me.
So baby, why need for me go? I want to see you go low. Baby, really come and do. I want to see you go low. Mommy, why for the Migos? Lily, when I'm quite I say my you put to copy this here. I've been up loving you for days. No, be say I did bobo you. Cause now you dey for my mind, oh. I love you, die. Say now because of you, baby. Make a brother gonna sing this song. Cause I did for you, my lover. Nobody else, my lover. But she said make a way. lover. Shitty on a single. Why you the worry, oh, baby, I confirm. See my love and I confirm, oh. Why you the worry, oh, baby, I confirm. See my love and I confirm, oh. See if you see me go with that up your mind. See me see why love. Now I go there, oh. If you see me go with that up your mind. Why you take me away? See me see why love. Now I go there, oh. I better. No do me why, no do me why, oh. I better. No do me why, no do me why, oh.
Champion lover, say you go be my lover.